here with Shaquille O'Neal. We welcome you to 2K Sports. And coming right up, we'll see the Utah Jazz playing against the Chicago Bulls in their house, United Center. And for the Bulls, this is their first time facing off this season. Last year, they split the season series at a game apiece. Well, the Utah Jazz have a new coach. It's Quinn Snyder. What you think there, big fella?
Well, Quinn Snyder has always had a solid system. You know, he comes from a successful offensive system in Atlanta. And, you know, one thing I like about him is he develops players. Players under him get better each and every time.
Great hair, too.
Great hair. Nice gel.
That'll do it. Let's get down to courtside to Kevin Harlan.
Welcome fans to 2K Sports Tuesday night presentation of NBA basketball. This is Kevin Harlan. Clark Kellogg and Steve Kerr by my side. Doris Burke will be reporting from the sidelines. Looking at Chicago, they took the win in their last game against the Celtics in Boston. And they put it all together in that game. It added up to a phenomenal win.
And you know what was most impressive? They wasted very few possessions in that game. They ran their offense close to perfection.
That's what we call the mute button game in front of a hostile crowd. They never let the fans get into it, had them on their hands the whole time.
And the Jazz start out with the ball. We've got a chance here to set the floor, courtesy of Gatorade, all fueled up and ready to go for this one. And so in the game for the Jazz, Hayward 3 and favors the 4. Pairing up in the backcourt, Trey Burke and Alec Burks. And it's Cantor in at the 5.
Joakim Noah, one of the great effort players in the NBA. His energy and mobility enable him to make his impact felt all over the court.
Now here's Burke. He's covered by Rose. Favors sets the pick for Burks. Nice ball movement by Utah. Good on the shot. Burks got his first 3 points of the game.
How about that for a response?
They will say they can give the 3 as well as they can take the 3.
Pass to Hansen. This one for 3. And the Bulls another 3.
And a lot of times his first quarter seems to dictate how big of a role he plays later on, and he's off to the good start.
Here's Burks. Here's Cantor. Chicago grabs the miss. This is their first chance to take a look at the Jazz this season.
Well, there was a lot separating these two teams in the standings a year ago, but they played each other to a draw. They split the season series.
Here's Hansen. No good. So Utah will take it the other way. They defeated the Pelicans in their last game.
And a lot of their scoring in that win came from unexpected places, from guys who don't typically get a lot of minutes.
And you know what? Those guys on the bench, they practice every day too, even if they don't play every night. And that night, they were ready.
Just goes to show you the varying styles of play and various strengths and weaknesses, Clark, of the teams. You can match up well with a particular team and not your conference overall.
I've always said that matchups are always what I look at as an analyst. There's something about these two teams, though, meeting. It always seems to end up being more exciting than it would be otherwise.
A shot by Hayward, wide open, misses the 3.
Boy, they're fortunate. Defense was taking a big chance leaving him that wide open behind the arc.
Utah has gone 1 of 2 from long range in the first quarter. Burke kicks to Burks. Over to the wing. Hayward dishes to Burks. Pass to Burke. Lets it go with the 3. And he gets the bucket. Burks got 6.
How in the world did they let him get that wide open?
Well, Chicago's gone 2 of 2 from 3-point range here in the first quarter. Tried to answer back, but that 3 is off the mark. The Jazz have gone 3 of 7 from the field since we've gotten underway. Hayward with the ball. Noah picks him up. Here's Burke. Here's Cantor. Nice work on the board. It's paying off with the basket. Cantor's got his first points of the game.
Boy, where was the box out? Too easy on that second chance opportunity.
Yeah, no box out is what happened there. Those kind of mistakes on the glass will kill a team.
And the Bulls with another miss. Utah leading. And here comes Hayward, leading the fast break. Uses the glass to finish the layup.
Yeah, he didn't even bother to wait around for any help on that break.
That was a one-man job all the way, Steve. He knew what to do with it and when.
And Chicago has possession. Count the bucket. 8 points for Baller.
He got a little room at the rim and laid it in. Great play.
Just under 3.5 minutes gone here in the first quarter. Burke kicks to Favors. Here's Burks. And another shot. He takes it up and lays it in. 26 seconds left to play here in the first. Poke loose. Now Burke. He's coming off a 19-point game against New Orleans.
And he really kept his head down, was drawing contact, getting himself to the line, played an aggressive game. That was a big-time help for him and his team.
And so the first quarter is in the books. Utah out in front, up 4. And back with the start of the second quarter in just a moment.
Tune in Friday, November 8th. Kyle Lowry and the Toronto Raptors go up against Stephen Curry and the Golden State Warriors. Don't miss it.
And the first quarter is in the books. Second about ready to get underway. Guys, from what we've been watching with the Jazz, what are you guys seeing out there?
And the key has been the second chance points. You look at this team, the hustle that they play with, very impressive in that first quarter.
Well, it's showing up on the scoreboard. I mean, you get second chance points like that, it can add to your totals and also demoralize your opponent. Well, with the Jazz playing much better basketball coincided with the return of rookie point guard Trey Burke from injury. Despite the fact they would have wanted a higher pick, it's really kind of nice to see their young core competing at a high level.
Taj Gibson is out there with the kid. Then there's Baller, and it's Rose, and it's Butler in at the 3, the small forward. That's the Bulls 5 as we get into the second quarter. And the Jazz lost 10 of 11 games to start the season, but once Burke returned from that broken finger, guys, he proved to be one of the more NBA-ready rookies.
No surprise from a player who won pretty much every National College Player of the Year award at Michigan his sophomore season. You know, they traded up to get him, and he's been a great fit.
He misses the free throw.
Dante Exum is one of the highest drafted international players in history, despite being relatively unknown. Not many scouts had seen a lot of him in person, but big performances at the Hoop Summit and the FIBA Under-19 championships helped solidify his stock as a top prospect.
He hits the second from the line. And Dante Exum, since age 15, a member of the Australian senior men's basketball team, the youngest player to join the team in 30 years.
Yeah, you know, he's proven himself at a very high level, Kevin, based on that Australian senior men's national team experience. And, you know, just watching him play, you can see that he's already mastered the ability to slash.
The feed now to Nova. Nice ball movement by Utah. Hood sinks the three-pointer.
And that's another assist for a team that is putting on a clinic on how to share the ball.
I just love the mentality they've had. If a shot isn't there, they're not forcing anything. They're moving it side to side and working to get a good shot.
Rose kicks to Butler. Clock at 6. Lets it fly from 18. Takes a big high bounce and goes in. A minute and a half gone here in the second quarter. Exum with it, and Rose picks him up defensively. Exum passes to Gobert. The dish to Exum. It's stolen by Rose. The finish. Misses the slam off the fast break. Jazz leading by 4.
You know, the Bulls' offense was not that great last year. As a matter of fact, they struggled to score. But when they did get to 100 points, they were one of the best teams in the league.
And the first time out of the game called for Chicago.
Dante Exum, a long, athletic combo guard out of Australia. His father came from the U.S. He was a teammate at North Carolina with Michael Jordan and went to Australia to play professionally for a number of years. That's why Dante grew up down under.
Utah's gone 3 of 4 from long range in the game. Here's Gobert. Can't get it to go. Some solid defense from Rose. And let's catch up with our sideline reporter, Doris Whitty. Doris, over to you.
Well, guys, Quinn Snyder this season taking over as head coach of the Utah Jazz. Snyder said the fit is terrific. He loves player development. Certainly a nice compliment to this young roster. Snyder's road in the coaching ranks has been a winding one, but he said the adversity he's faced has made him a better coach and a better person. Gentlemen,
his time has come, Doris. All the makings of a great coach. Thank you, Baller. He's checked in for Derrick Rose. And here in the second quarter of action with a hair under 2.5 minutes played so far. And Dante Exum entering the NBA directly out of high school. He led his team to the national title in Australia in mid-January.
It's a slightly different season schedule in Australia, so he spent about 6 months in the U.S. training for the NBA, basically working on his shot and putting the finishing touches on his still very green game.
And a moment now to quickly take a look at the offensive approach for the Jazz.
Now, they didn't waste any time getting into a groove out there. They're dialed in from long range.
The other thing they've had going for them tonight is their passing. I mean, doing a nice job. Plenty of their points early on coming off assists.
Chicago making some changes. Noah comes in for Taj Gibson. And McDermott subbed in for Baller. Gordon Hayward's checked in for the Jazz. Alec Burks comes in for Hood. Good on the second free throw.
For years, the Jazz have been one of those teams that always finish near the top in team fouls, but last year they kind of shook that stigma.
They're going to turn it over. They couldn't get it in bounds that time. Derek Favors checked in for Gobert. And we're now a little over 2.5 minutes into the second quarter. Kicks it to Favors. Exum with it. 14 points from him the last game against New Orleans. Favors dishes to Burks. Just 5 to shoot. Another miss by Utah.
Well, it's a little bit of a silver lining for how they struggled, but the Jazz were right in the middle of the pack for fouls in what is usually a problem area for them.
That's his first personal foul.
Well, you wonder with the Jazz, Clark, less fouls this last year, but also their defense took a step backward as well.
You know, their defense didn't have the same bite, and it might have been connected to them picking up fewer fouls, but I would say they are both a result of this group just not being as aggressive and locked in on defense as they need to be.
That free throw, no good.
Doug McDermott was a high school teammate of Harrison Barnes back in Ames, Iowa. They helped the team win 53 straight games and back-to-back state titles. At the time, Barnes was seen as the surefire NBA prospect, but McDermott became a superstar in his own right, playing for his dad at Creighton.
Chicago making a switch here. Gasol's checked in. Now here's Burke. He's got 6. We'll see if they want to trade 2 for 1 here.
Well, you got to time up the clock, and it's easier said than done, but you got to execute your offense on that first possession.
And Doug McDermott ended up playing for his father at Creighton. Dad didn't take it easy on him either. And, you know, do you think that Clark prepares him for playing under a demanding coach like Tom Thibodeau?
Without question, Kevin. I mean, you play for a demanding coach in college, and it prepares you for what you're going to face in a coach like Tom Thibodeau, who holds his guys to a high standard of accountability, demands an awful lot out of them in practice and in games. So I think Doug McDermott will be well prepared for what is going to be required as a member of the Bulls.
Now here's Burke. He dishes it to Burks. From past the arc. rebound by Gasol. Gasol's got 4 rebounds in this game. McDermott, no good on the buzzer beater. Second quarter ends in a tight one. Jazz lead by 2. And now let's catch up with Doris Burke, who's standing by on the sideline. Doris?
Hey, Kevin, with Derrick Rose. Derrick, how does it feel to get back out there on the basketball floor here for the new season ahead?
It feels good, man, especially playing with my teammates. We have new teammates. We're just trying to come out here and just play hard and compete.
Great to have you back, Derrick. Kevin, back to you.
All right, Doris, thank you. And we'll be back after halftime for the start of the third quarter. Here we go now, the start of the third quarter, welcoming you back in a closely contested first half so far. It's been quite a game for Baller.
He went off in the first 2 quarters, guys, as he's capable of doing. We might see some changes here in the defensive approach they use on him in the second half.
Yeah, they've got to make some sort of change. I mean, they can't let him continue to torch him like he has been. You know, one thing you have to admire, respect, and appreciate with this Bulls team is they've had some really difficult luck with the injuries to Derrick Rose, but it was a no-excuse team. They never hung their heads. They competed, and they continue to win at a high level.
Checking out the group for Quinn Snyder to start the second half. Burks the off guard with Hayward at the 3. Favors plays the 4 with Cantor at the 5. And it's Burke in at the 1. So here's Burks. The Bulls getting the bucket. Clock at 6. Here is Hayward. No good from 18. And the Bulls so resilient. A lot of credit has to go to Coach Tom Thibodeau. He gets them to play with tremendous effort every game.
Well, in the front office, too, Kevin. I mean, you think about the late first-round picks that they've turned into Taj Gibson and Jimmy Butler. Very productive two-way players that have held their own when Rose was out.
And a chance here to catch up with the 4th member of our crew, Doris Burke. Hi, Doris.
Well, thank you, Kevin. There are a lot of questions as to how Dante Exum will develop as a player. He has the skill to be a 2-guard, but grew up playing point guard. He would prefer the point, saying that's the position that has got me here. That's what I want to be going forward. We'll see if the coaches agree, Kevin.
We'll see how it plays out. Thanks, Doris. Jazz trail by 4. Clark, they've been struggling here on offense.
Yeah, a little bit of cottonmouth here. Dry spell for sure.
And the Jazz call time here.
Well, with Derrick Rose out of commission last season, the Bulls again look to run their offense through Joakim Noah in the high post. He assisted on almost 25% of their made baskets when he was on the floor.
Looking at who's out there now for the Jazz. Trevor Booker comes in for Derek Favors. And it's Exum in for Burks. Now here's Hayward. Nice ball movement by Utah. Burke kicks to Hayward. Here's Cantor. Sinks that one from the post. Cantor's got his second bucket.
And Noah last season becoming the first center to lead his team in assists in over 2 decades. Tallied 14 assists in 1 game. I mean, that was the first time in 35 years a center was able to do that.
The kid, he's checked in for Chicago. Here's Morrison. Feeds it to McDermott. Fires from deep. And he gets it to go. And that's 15 points for Baller.
You know, it seems like when they've gone to him, he's really come through. And that's not something they should get away from.
And Joakim Noah, the highest assist average since Vlade Divac over a decade ago.
And he became only the 5th center in NBA history to average at least 12 points, 11 boards, and 5 assists per game. That's pretty impressive, partner.
Now, Doug McDermott, a senior out of Creighton, one of the all-time great scorers in college basketball history. In fact, 3,150 points. That ranks him 5th all-time in Division I. And he's not just a great shooter. He's a scorer who can create his own shot in a number of ways.
And McDermott, the first player in 30 years, Clark, to make the APL America first team 3 consecutive times. It's only been done 10 times before.
Oh, he was absolutely fantastic as a college player. One of the best college careers in the history of college hoops, Kevin. No doubt about that. There were some questions about how his game would translate to the NBA. Not a question mark for me. This is a guy who I think, while he might not be a superstar, he's going to be more than a serviceable long-term pro.
Now here's Burke. He has 6. Here's Booker. Pass to Burke. Shoots. Rose with the block. And here's the fast break. Here's McCormick. Yes, and it's Rose with the assist that time. Baller's got his second bucket of the night.
Boy, I tell you what, nice little run here they're going on.
Now the story is points in the paint, Clark. I mean, they're getting point-blank shots every time down.
It just hasn't been a very good day for him, guys. They need him to start burying some of those.
Banked in off the glass. And it's an 8-point Bulls lead.
Well, he wasn't phased at all by the bigger man on him. And on the low block, I thought he might be.
You know, Steve, I thought maybe he'd prefer to bring him out to the perimeter, but whatever works, go to it.
Here is Novak. Quiet so far offensively, searching for his first points of the game. Here's Gobert. No good. Now Chicago takes it the other way. Next up for them, the Bucks in Milwaukee. And that'll be the first of a 2-game road trip for them. Deflects the pass. Here's McDermott. And it's going to be 2 free throws. Drew contact on the shot.
And the offense just getting right to the rim, but at least they saved the layup with the foul.
That's old school basketball rules. I mean, at the end of the day, no easy layup. Earn it from the line.
These are his 3rd and 4th free throw attempts of the game. First free throw is good. Jimmy Butler, he's checked in for the Bulls. Then for the Jazz, Favors comes in for Trevor Booker, and Hood subbed in for Burke. He hits both from the stripe. Here's Exum. Clark, they're looking now at a sizable deficit.
Yeah, you know, they've got a lot of work ahead of them, but no reason to give up hope right now.
No, the game's still out there for them, but they've got to get back to their game plan and start to grind out each possession.
Fades back, and it's Favors that time on the assist by Exum. 6 seconds left to play here in the 3rd. Rose up on top. Buried it just in the nick of time.
He sure did. Right on cue. Man, was that major drama.
And as we end the 3rd quarter, a double-digit deficit will make it tough to come back. It's the Bulls ending the 3rd quarter with a tremendous 17. And a moment now to take a look at our State Farm assist of the game. With 6 in the game, it's been some excellent court vision from Derrick Rose.
Well, he's been key to their ability to find the open man and really get the offense operating smoothly.
Jazz trail by 10. Inside at the 4 and 5 are Gasol and Noah. Waller is out there with Rose. And it's Butler in at the small forward. That's the 5 out there for the Bulls. And that one's good by Favors.
If you battle for the offensive rebound and come up with it, you're guaranteed a high-quality shot on a follow just like he got there.
Here's Hansen. And fouled hard that time. He'll get to the line and shoot 2.
Some really terrific numbers for Baller. 15 points, and he sprayed home 3 3-pointers as well.
Yeah, productive day for him from long range.
And some stats here, guys. The scoring breakdown for Chicago.
Guys, the passing we've seen from them has been tremendous. Very unselfish.
And they continue to knock down the long-range three-point shot as well.
And Utah making a change here. Burks is checked in. That one falls, so he hits both of them.
You know that old saying, the more things change, the more things stay the same. That applies to Chicago. Once again, they were incredibly tough at home with their defense.
Gasol goes in. He kicks it to Noah. Here's Hansen. Bangs home the trifecta. Baller's got 12 points here in the second half.
You know, one aspect of their play today that's really been tight and far superior is their passing.
Agreed. I mean, you look at the points, I mean, they're getting a lot of baskets off of assists, so the offense really clicking here. Yeah, and guys, I think he feels like he can make a few improvements during this timeout, just kind of make a couple of adjustments, get his club back on track.
You know, coaches are always tweaking and tinkering with things mid-game. Actually, sometimes they overdo it.
All right, let's go over to the sideline with Doris Burke.
Thanks, Kevin. Tom Thibodeau had some words for his team in that last huddle. He said, "We are this close to finishing them off, but the job is not done yet, and I don't want to see any let-up out there." We'll see how well his point got across, guys.
Hansen. At the line for the Bulls, 2 shots.
And the first one at the line is good. Well, guys, the Utah Jazz, one of the better front offices, I think all would agree, in the NBA, narrowly missing the playoffs in 2013. And they saw this loaded 2014 draft class, and Steve, they decided to go young.
Well, tough to let Paul Millsap and Al Jefferson just walk away, but you know, there's a plan in place, and the Jazz felt like they needed to go young. They didn't want to tie themselves up long-term with contracts that would just lead to mediocrity. So the rebuild is on, and this team does have some talent.
Burke kicks to Burks. In the corner, it's Hayward. Shot clock at 6. He feeds it to Burke for the 3. And it's Chicago with the rebound. Noah's got his 5th rebound in this one.
And you know, for the Jazz, you look at this lineup of Trey Burke, Alec Burks, Gordon Hayward, Enes Kanter, Derek Favors. I mean, they're all 24 years or younger. I think this is a team that can grow together, and we've talked about it before, continuity being such an important piece of a successful team. And they've already shown they can win ball games, so I'm interested to watch this group grow together and see where they can get to.
Well, the Jazz, I think, still in this rebuild, but it's interesting. They've got a lot of young assets trying to make a break from the middle. Got young talent, cap space, draft picks, big goals in mind. They're looking beyond just fighting for a playoff spot.
McDermott's checked in for Jimmy Butler, and he can't hit the second.
Enes Kanter was the 3rd overall pick back in 2011, drafted out of Kentucky, where he actually never played a game there due to ineligibility. But it's a bit of a gamble because of that. I'm not sure he's completely delivered on those lofty expectations yet.
And for Kanter last season, Clark, a big uptick in minutes, but his productivity actually regressed somewhat.
Well, Kevin, the shooting percentages went down, as did his blocks and steals. But remember now, he's only 22 years old, and it's not always a straight line of progression for players. There are occasional detours before you bounce back up to that next plateau.
Well, something of a bounce-back season for Pau Gasol in 2013-14, Steve, with better health and a return to playing in the middle more often.
Yeah, you know, he dealt with a few nagging injuries, Kevin, but scored better, rebounded better. Nice to see him, you know, show that he's really still an elite big after struggling a couple seasons ago.
And for Powell, with the expiring contract, trade rumors swirled all season long. That's nothing new for him. He's been hearing them for years.
Kept alive. Here's Kanter. Tries yet again. Count that one. The Bulls' lead has been cut to just 11 on the basket from Favors.
The defense has not been able to keep the ball out of the paint at that end of the floor.
Boy, I'd like to know how many of their attempts have come from inside 5 feet. It seems like everything is right at the rim. And Powell last season making $20 million a year. Hard for the Lakers to trade him when they wanted cap space. In the end, he found a new home and a new start in free agency.
Burke kicks to Burks. Let's go. Off the mark, and a chance to trim it to single digits. Dishes it to Noah. Fades away. And it doesn't even draw iron. Jazz trail by 11. To the inside. Here's Burks. That one falls coming off Burks' feet.
Oh, Maestro, he is so good at making those lead passes, like conducting an orchestra.
Hansen, Burks covering, on its way from Rose for two. The top of the key jumper is on the mark.
And at this point, just sort of running through the paces, going through the motions as it appears. It'll be a nice win here for the Bulls.
This was a very efficient offense tonight.
They knocked down their shots. I mean, a little luck didn't hurt either. A lot of their 50-50 shots went in the basket.
And during the long NBA season, each contest important here tonight. Tonight's win will give them 4 on the season.
Well, they can chalk this win up, but things are far from settled between these two teams. They'll see each other 3 more times before the season is over.
And they say familiarity breeds contempt. As they get to know each other a little better, you imagine things will get heated up. Tonight was only chapter 1.
And what a huge standout performance it was for Baller. It was the kind of game for him that all scorers dream of, where the basket just seems to be incredibly wide.
And that one's good. Burke. We've played just over 3.5 minutes now in the fourth quarter. The pass to Noah. And they're going to count the bucket and send him to the line. It could be a 3-point play.
Well, if it wasn't already out of reach, it is now thanks to this spurt.
Just keep on firing, man. No reason to slow down now.
So both teams changing it up here.
And the line for the Bulls. 1 shot.
That free throw good from Noah.
And that ought to do it. I think any chance for a miracle comeback just went out the window with those free throws.
Clark kicks to Hood. Shoots from the baseline, and that misses everything. Heinrich inside the three-point line, off on that one. And so Chicago takes this one, and by a big margin. They put on a show tonight, thoroughly controlling each end of the floor.
Hey, what more can you ask?
And a chance now to send you over to Doris Burke, standing by on the sideline. Doris?
Pal, this win was punctuated by some quality defensive plays. How important is the defensive execution to your success?
Well, defense got to be always our motor. If we get some stops, we're doing a good job defensively, everything will be okay from that point on. So we just got to continue to emphasize our defense.
Thank you so much. Back to you guys at the table.
All right, Doris, thank you. And for Clark Kellogg, Steve Kerr, and Doris Burke, this is Kevin Harlan thanking you for tuning in to the NBA on 2K Sports. Now, our Jordan Player of the Game, Baller.